you're funky, shake it. So funky that you just can't take it, then go on. Use or lose your thing, you got to use or lose your thing.
This is all vegan place. You're vegetarian, right?
I am vegetarian. I'm looking forward to the vegan food, though. I try not to eat too much dairy.
How long have you been doing that?
Well, they always say that eating dairy isn't so great for singing.
Right, it's true.
Yeah, so I just try to stay away from it. I love cheese, though, so I haven't been able to completely give it up.
I like good cheese, you know, like when you're in France.
Absolutely. The extra sharp, extra stinky.
Yeah, yeah, me too. The smellier, the better.
Right.
You spend some time in Paris, though, right?
I have spent some time in Paris. I spend probably a couple of weeks out of each year I go over there.
Oh, really?
Last year I went and I recorded part of my new record over there, so I spent quite a bit of time writing and also the recording. So yeah, I love Paris. Cool. One of my favorite cities.
I was just there. I don't speak French at all.
At all?
No.
So how do you survive?
I feel sort of lonely there, but it's sort of a quiet kind of loneliness, you know?
I understand that travel in general.
Yeah.
One of the things I love to do when I'm touring or just traveling, like, because you know when you're touring, you always have to remind yourself you're not on vacation.
Yes.
But you want to have some sort of memento from the place. So one of the sort of traditions that I do when I travel is I'll just go to like a vintage boutique in whatever the city is that I'm in, or I'll try to connect with like an independent designer from the area and try to get like one of the kind.
Get like one piece from somewhere.
Yeah, and then you can be like, I got this in, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Vienna.
Yeah, exactly. It has the
panache. I got this in Niger.
But you play in Africa too.
Yes.
Yeah, because
I'm from there.
Where are you from?
My father's side is from Rwanda. My mother's side is from Uganda, but I grew up in Illinois.
I mean, when you play in Africa, how do people respond to the music differently than they do in the United States?
When I play in East Africa, where I'm from, Uganda and Rwanda, people have a different sort of connection to it because obviously sometimes they can understand the lyrics or they can understand who I am, you know, and they kind of look at me as a daughter of their own, right? So there's sort of a sentimentality and a romantic connection that occurs between myself and the audience. When I first was going over there with my band to play, I remember feeling a bit nervous about it. My family was like, oh, you know, you have to play something that they can dance to, and they don't know jazz.
Right,
But I think we underestimate the African audience, we underestimate ourselves, and I think it's just a matter of exposing anyone to any kind of music and then letting the audience members figure out what resonates with them.
But like if you play in an English-speaking country, or just even just in a venue where there's a lot of, you know, English-speaking people, as opposed to somewhere where there's not, do you find yourself making different set changes and stuff like that? Do you play the same set, or do you present the same music?
Well, I definitely take into consideration who the audience is, no matter where I am. Whether I'm in, even sometimes when I'm in Brooklyn versus Manhattan, you know? So if I am in Africa, for example, they also speak English or they also speak French, so I do try to sing something that I know the majority of the people will at least be able to connect to lyrically in some way. So yeah, definitely take that into consideration, but still try to give the same type of show, you know?
I just toured over in Europe, and some of my songs are very storytelling. Like I'll play somewhere like in Germany, in Freiburg, and they not only speak English, but they speak English better than Americans, and they get nuances and ironies and stuff that American audiences don't always respond to, and that's great. Then I'll go to France, and I realize there's two things I can't do. I can't do the storytelling songs. I can't do the patter, you know, like in between song patter. And
thank you.
I kind of like it in a way. Like it makes me rely less on that stuff, and you have to just like get the music going and just like circulate and get on this kind of meditation. And
that's interesting though, because it's sort of it's challenging the audience to focus on the other textures of the song.
And getting yourself to focus on it too. It's like, oh wow, you know, you're thinking the music in a totally different way. It's just all about harmony and melody and nothing else. Yeah. I play solo. I'll play like 2.5 hours solo, you know. What is this?
It looks like the hijiki salad with the edamame peas.
You mind if I have some of that?
Absolutely not.
Wow. Hijiki salad with edamame peas, just like Mom used to make.
Right. Right.
Awesome.
Where are you from?
Delaware.
Delaware.
Yeah.
So you guys
Do you
had
know
a lot
where
of
it is?
hijiki.
Yeah, a lot of hijiki and edamame peas, of course.
You're hilarious.
You grew up in Illinois mostly?
Illinois and Zen.
Where in Illinois?
Well, I grew up in Champaign and I went to school. My father was a professor at, I don't know if you know the school there, University of Illinois. It's in both Urbana and Champaign. And I also lived in Zambia for a few years of my life too.
When was that? Like what ages?
Between the ages of like 3 and 8.
Do you ever think about living there again, or?
Not so much Zambia, but I definitely want to move. I want to spend like half of my year in East Africa and the other half in New York or in Paris or somewhere else.
But so not in Zambia, but you would...
Not in Zambia. I would definitely love to live in either Rwanda or Uganda where my families are.
Wow, okay.
I have immediate family living over there, and I have a ton of cousins. I have like 50 cousins on my mom's side, and like both my parents' families are huge. So I have one grandparent who's still living, who's living in Uganda.
The 92-year-old grandmother, the picture on your website, yeah.
Exactly.
She's beautiful.
She has
Yeah,
amazing
92
skin.
years old. I was really blown away. I looked at that picture. I actually blew it up. I increased it on my computer,
Yeah.
you know?
She just turned
see.
93 in December, actually.
Wow.
Amazing. Actually,
Unbelievable.
the genes, yeah, because on my father's side, my grandfather supposedly lived well into his hundreds.
Really?
They actually don't know how old he was because in the village, like back in the day, they never, had birth certificates or anything like that. But he can recount certain sort of like colonial periods of history and say, oh, well, I was this old when this happened, and so the historians were like, well, that would make you 130, or like things like that.
You think he could have been?
I don't know.
Wow.
There was this whole discussion about whether or not we should like call Guinness.
Wow, that looks great. You call Guinness to see if he's like the oldest man
But then we were like, we
living?
don't want like his home to be like a circus and like people come to look for the oldest
Yeah, exactly.
man.
There he is. Get a picture of him. Come on. Wow.
So the longevity,
That's pretty
hopefully I
hardcore.
get some of that, yeah.